Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello, and welcome to our Energy Meets the Divine. I'm Marie. Thank you for liking and subscribing below. If you are new, I hope you find this podcast desirable and fun for you. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today, before we go to the phone lines where I answer people's questions intuitively, I would love to talk about detoxification. Detoxifying the body, of course, in terms of food and the environment. And there's really easy, simple ways to detox, but even detoxifying your mind from emotions, which is also highly critical. Negative feelings and misperceptions are just as toxic as, unhealthy drugs that people might take or unhealthy food that people might eat over and over and over and over and over again. And we want to detoxify so that we can keep our temple, because your energy that's in your body is part of your soul's energy. We want that energy to be able to expand and have as much freedom and joy and happiness and health as it possibly can. So we detoxify. Sometimes when people see naturopathic physicians and the physicians have decided that the person has a lot of toxicity, like environmental toxins, like heavy metals or other things of that nature, they will recommend a lot of supplements. And I don't think many people can really absorb all of those supplements. And so it's not very effective or as effective as I would like it to be. So I think one of the ways that we can avoid toxicity in our body is to do natural detoxing all the time. So natural detoxing, from my perception, is where you eliminate certain foods from your diet for a period of time, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Like, what would it be like if you've been drinking coffee all your adult life and you stopped? Because it's not healthy. One of the things that coffee does, it's not the caffeine, but it's the oil in the coffee bean that can disrupt the mucosal lining in the intestinal tract. And holistic practitioners believe that 80% of your immune system is in your intestines. So if you don't have a healthy mucosal lining, then you could have leaky gut, meaning that this beautiful osmolarity that's exchanging in the intestinal tract, which is anywhere between 25 and 30 feet, that it's actually dumping things into your bloodstream instead of having it leave through the intestines and then through poop, through feces. So what if you stop drinking coffee for a year? What if you eat a lot of sugar, which is never a good sign, and sugar is one of the least healthiest things for humanity or animals? It's not healthy. What if you stopped eating sugar for 6 months? And what if when you went back to eating sugar, you only ate healthy sugars, natural sugars? So you looked at labels, and if it says added sugar, you don't buy it. That would be great. What if you just stopped eating grain for 3 months? What if you began to drink higher concentrations of water? Absolutely no pop, unless it's sweetened by stevia and you get it at a health food store, I wouldn't recommend it. Pop isn't good for us. So there's natural ways that we can detoxify our body. And really, if you could just listen to your body when you're eating food, feel your body. What is it saying? Yum, yum, yum? Or is it going, ooh, more of this? The other night, a neighbor dropped off some organic vegetables, some rainbow Swiss chard and a beautiful zucchini. And I immediately made dinner for me with some eggs. It was delicious. So when you're detoxifying from something, like you're leaving something off the table, it could be dairy, it could be alcohol. Alcohol is also not good for the human body. And you're doing it for a period of time, not a week, not 2 weeks, months, maybe a year. It can take a while to get everything out of the cells and to get the body to recharge, especially like if you've been drinking coffee every day for years. It could easily take a year to really get a lot of the toxins that are associated with coffee in your body that your body's gotten comfortable with. So if you eat something healthy, like what I just described that I ate for dinner last night, and I had it for breakfast this morning too, my body loved it, loved it. And in fact, I've known for a long time, my body loves organic food. So that's what I choose to buy predominantly. So if you start to pay attention to, is your body feeling heavy after you just finished that particular meal? Have you noticed increased anxiety when you are eating a particular type of food? Do you want to take a nap after you eat a bunch of sugar? So your body's communicating with you. And instead of having to go on a ton of supplements because you now have mental toxicity or like heavy metals or something else going on in your body, why not consider taking certain foods out for periods of time and let your body kind of recharge? It's kind of like, when I'm feeding my yard, I don't use the same organic fertilizer for every single year because actually, who knows, maybe that fertilizer isn't going to feed every plant appropriately, or maybe there's going to be some sort of lack of growth, because the fertilizer has been overused. Just like when we take too many antibiotics, then we create problems within the normal flora of our body. So doing the same thing forever is not a good idea. And I love it if you got creative. What if your body wants you to do celery juice, which really helps to detoxify the lymph nodes for 3 months, twice a day or twice a week, I should say. Like really feel it, really listen, because the body is loud and it's communicating to you all the time. I promise you, your body is not saying, let's go have another glass of wine and some chocolate. It's not. That would be your mind. That would be your ego. And you can tell when your ego is present in your food diet because it's saying, oh, let's go have another ice cream cone. Let's go have another milkshake. Ooh, let's go have another glass of wine. Your body does not say that, rarely. And the body is so kind that when we do eat food that's not in our best interest, the body does everything it can to detoxify it and to let you enjoy whatever it is that you consumed, but not let it hurt your body. But if you do it consistently, if you're eating a bag of chips, which of course I love chips, they're great. But if you're eating one once a week, probably need a detox from chips. Probably would be a really good idea to get some more celery out, some carrots, some zucchini, add more vegetables to your diet. But overall, just find ways to substitute foods that you normally eat, even healthy foods that people eat all the time. We can build up resistance to it. I recently removed almond milk and almonds from my diet because for years I've been eating almond flour, of course, almond milk, and then I love almonds. So I removed all of it from my diet, and I will for probably a year. Maybe occasionally I'll have something, but for an entire year, I'm going to drink other kinds of milk. I'm going to eat other nuts. I'm going to use different flours for my gluten-free diet that don't have almond flour in it. So I want you to be creative in this way and listen to your body's going to go, oh, good move. Yeah. That was enough almonds, because we don't want to build up resistance to food. That's what leads to toxicity. And healthy food can become toxic, just like the obvious foods that clearly are, like high fat food, deep fried, high sugar food. Those are toxic to the body. And no matter what your mind tells you, please listen to the rest of your body. That's going to give you great pointers that, oh, I love that. That was delicious. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's amazing. It's not my mind that wants to buy organic produce, because sometimes when I go to the grocery store, the non-organic looks prettier and it's less expensive, but it's my body that just kind of goes, oh, organic blueberries, please. I'm like, okay, it's the organic blueberries. That's what my body wants. A fun place to begin, if you haven't already sat on your body and felt its desires on the food path, is while you're grocery shopping. Can you notice when your energy elevates depending on what aisle you walk down, or when you're holding food and you're measuring, ooh, do I want chicken, or do I want, vegan. What do I want? Like, see how your body feels and listen to it and follow it. My body doesn't really like chicken. I eat it occasionally, but it is not a food choice for me when it comes to meat or, that type of protein. And of course, I've read over time how certain people don't do well with chicken. It's not in their best interest. Even Charles is allergic to chicken, which is kind of interesting. I don't think of an allergy to it, but my body doesn't like it. So if you could just listen to, you don't want to pick it up. You definitely don't want to cook it. Maybe you don't like the smell of it. Maybe you don't like the texture. It doesn't matter how your body's speaking to you because it's doing everything it can to get your attention. And your job is to listen to it, thank your body, and go buy something that your body's excited about, that feels delighted that you are now consuming caffeine-free drinks all day long versus, falsely feeding the adrenal glands and creating more fight or flight responses, which none of us need those. We already have too many. Okay, so those are my ideas. And you'll be surprised by how fast your body will recover from things that you weren't even trying to get rid of, but maybe things have been a little annoying that you put on the back burner. You'll notice how much more energy you have. You may notice your skin might change, especially when people stop eating sugar. It definitely affects the skin and the hair follicles significantly. And everything affects the intestinal tract because that's where everything's going. And it's sitting in there for that 25 to 35 feet, highway, absorbing the toxins or the food that has now become toxic for you because you've consumed too much of the same thing and you haven't given yourself a healthy variety. Those things can all be eradicated just by naturally detoxifying your body and ignoring certain foods. So I hope you all have fun in the grocery store. I hope you all have fun in the kitchen, and that you just get curious about your diet and what is it that you could do to stimulate your immune system to kick in at a deeper level, which will eradicate health issues that you've had kind of under the hood. Or some people have said to me, they have done something. Like one person I heard had gotten a vaccine, and then after the vaccine, they lost their hearing. And so, of course, they blamed the vaccine, which I'm not saying it wasn't the vaccine's fault, but typically by the time, because that is a possibility, but this is a vaccine this person has had every decade, pretty much since they were quite young. But what happens is that the immune system will have little dips in it from all kinds of things: thoughts, negative thoughts, critical thinking, staying in unhealthy beliefs about who you are and what you deserve, staying in old, especially about relationships where people are still having information in their brain telling them the same old story about relationships over and over and over again. That's toxic to the body. So you can eradicate that toxin by choosing not to think that way, choosing to think differently, choosing to feel that you're lovable, choosing to feel that you're worthy, that you're deserving, that you don't have to have these patterns keep reappearing because it's just your mind is stuck on the same track, just like our taste buds are stuck on sugar or high fat food, which of course I love too, but my body has just been trained over the years to like other things that are healthy for it. So when we don't naturally detox and we're having moments of toxicity that we're not noticing, right? Because when people aren't paying attention to their body, they're also ignoring negative symptoms, not just positive outreaching that the body is saying like, oh, yeah, the green banana, actually my body likes that better. I think the green banana doesn't look very appetizing, but my body actually likes it better than a really ripe banana. So I pay attention to that, even though my mind tells me a different story. So when we ignore all these opportunities that we have to naturally detox, then when something else comes into our body, like a vaccine or a cold medicine or a virus, we could have enough toxins in our body already that then you add an external thing, something that maybe you even have to have, like some medication. Then we see, unfortunately, like a domino effect. And all of a sudden, like in the person I mentioned earlier, they lost their hearing after getting a vaccine. But I don't think it was the vaccine that created the hearing loss. I think the vaccine was the last trickle, which it didn't have to be a vaccine. It could have been something else. It could have been a vacation to a country where the food is deep fried and the person ate 2 weeks of it, and then they get home and their hearing would be gone. So the smallest and the slightest of things, or the things that we don't think are very, practical, can lead to adverse reactions within the body. So we want to listen to our body, even if our mind goes, I really love coffee though, because I guarantee your body does not like it. Your mind might like it, but your body doesn't. Maybe occasionally. Maybe it can be as a dessert or something fun once in a while. And then when you have to take an antibiotic or you get a virus, or if you feel you have to get a vaccine, because some vaccines, like, the tetanus vaccine, kind of important, kind of need it. I mean, what if we come in contact with tetani and then it affects our body? We don't want that. So detox your emotions, allow your mind to choose something to think about, tell yourself often that you're lovable, and eat food in rotation. Rotate food out, rotate different foods in. One of the things my body likes, which I think is interesting, I'm just using me as an example. I hope that's not too boring. My body loves iceberg lettuce. Okay, my mind thinks that's the dumbest thing in the world. I want to buy the mixed green packages for lettuce. That's what I want. And I do buy that, but my body craves iceberg lettuce in a good way. Maybe it's the high quality of water that's in the leaves. I'm not really sure, but my body loves it. Okay, so that's my talk on detoxification. Rather than waiting to have to detox with tons of supplements that your body may not be able to absorb and utilize, because if you can't absorb it, it's not working. It's just going into the intestinal tract and out. Try considering feeling your beautiful body and taking certain foods and emotions and circumstances and belief systems out. It will work, I promise. Okay, so now we're going to head over to the phone lines.
I'm calling from California. My question is in regards to, lately I've been having a lot of relationships end. A 5-year relationship, verbally abusive, very up and down, and I'm having a hard time, but ended that relationship. Also, my mom, my daughter, my brother. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. I just have gotten into arguments with all of them. And I'm wondering if you can please do an energy reading for myself. I'd really like things to be better. And I'm not sure if it's me. I just feel like these are all toxic relationships, and it's really hard to end them, especially when they're family. So any guidance is very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Desiree. You are the common denominator, so this is about you. And it doesn't mean that you're the problem, though. It means that your soul wants you to learn something, to stop people pleasing, to stop over-compromising, to stop trying to make everyone feel okay when you don't feel okay. I think that's why these relationships are ending partially. When we've been in relationships with people who are abusive, emotionally, verbally, or physically, there's a part of the human that's being abused that believes they deserve it. And if they do inner work and if they change, then a lot of their relationships change, not just the main obvious abusing relationship, but when you have kind of an energy on your aura that says, you can kind of do whatever you want and I'll be fine. I won't leave you. I'll stick around. I'll blame myself. I'll take full responsibility. And when you finally start to lift that sticker because you've had a change in consciousness, it doesn't mean that other people around you are going to have a change in consciousness too. Some people like to be around people who are people pleasers. They want someone who always takes care of them. They don't want to do half of the work. So it doesn't mean that these relationships, like with your daughter or your brother, and I think you mentioned your mother, but I'm not sure, that they have to end. And it may feel like that because you no longer want to do an old dance that didn't allow you to have positive, healthy connections with other. Good for you. Good for you. And I promise you, this is an old wound. It's from multiple lifetimes. So it's amazing that you've gotten to this place where you feel like you're worthy and deserving, and that you're ready to have different types of experiences. This is fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful. So they don't have to end forever, but maybe for a while. There's nothing wrong with taking a break from certain people. It doesn't matter if we're related to them or not. You don't always have to reevaluate your place in the world in order to have a healthy relationship. It's not necessary. So I think it would be great, just absolutely great, that you take a break, take care of yourself, and maybe let these people think about how they interact with you and see if they're willing to have a change of heart and behave differently. They might come up to you and go, hey, what's going on? You're not calling me. You're not talking to me anymore. And I know you were upset 2 weeks ago, but are you still upset? You can have a conversation. Yeah, I'm still upset. I don't feel like our relationship is equal. And we're adults, all of us. And I want equal companionship. So you're in a good space. Nothing's wrong. I'm sorry it's uncomfortable, but it's actually really, really good for you. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Hi, Marie. This is Carmel from Canada. I was wondering if you can share with me if I had a lot of past lives, and were they good past lives, or did I have a lot of persecutions in my past lives? Wondering what my main jobs were in my past lives, and was I successful in them? Thank you for sharing, and I love listening to your podcast.
Thank you, Carmel. You are an older soul type, so you could have lived hundreds of thousands of lifetimes. I know. Not just on Earth. Earth is just one place that a soul can come and have an experience. There's many, many other dimensions. So, yeah, you've had a lot of lifetimes. And old souls have done and seen and heard everything. They've been criminals themselves. They've been the persecutor. They've been the executioner. They've been the bank robber. They've been, the bank owner. When you've lived that many lifetimes, you've done it all. Absolutely everything. So you have lifetimes where you were persecuted, lifetimes where you were very successful. You've lived so long, you can assume that anything that's possible in terms of what a soul could experience, you have. You have. So, yeah, all of it. You've done all of it, which is what allows older souls to be compassionate, because they've already experienced things. They've already had unique insight into worldly experiences. That's why they also don't have to have horrific experiences when they're in Earth or on Earth, because they already know what these experiences are like. And I'm not saying that life can't be challenging for, for older souls. It can be, of course, but a lot of that has to do with changing one's perception and not getting caught up in previous ideas about previous lifetimes or what's happening in other people's lives. So you've done it all, which is very exciting. I hope that's helpful for you. Done it all. Done it all. Okay.
Hi, Marie. This is very random. My name is Anna. I'm recording this from Brussels, but I'm Portuguese, so I'm an immigrant. I have a very old existing question, and which is connected to a wound of mine, a wound of grief from my father that passed away when I was very young. And I'm just hoping if he can come through you and send me a message, because I'm going through this soul work and I'm going through my spiritual work and path. I just started now and I really wanted to connect with him, but I cannot. There might be a lot of healing still for me to do in order to accomplish such thing. But I came across you, and I just took the chance to ask my question. Do you have a message for me from him? Thank you.
Hello, Anna. So, kids actually wouldn't experience as much grief if the adults around them weren't feeding it to them. Children are really smart. I remember I was at a home of a client who was dying. He was young, had 2 small children, and he'd been on hospice in the house for quite a while. And they had asked me to come over and spend some time with them. And the little girl, his daughter, who was maybe 3 or 4, came up to me and she goes, "Daddy's going to heaven. All the angels are going to be with Daddy." And you could tell the rest of the parents or the adults were like surprised that she said that, because that's not what they had been talking about. They were, of course, very sad. His parents were there. He passed away a couple of days later, but the daughter knew exactly what was happening. So I think what brings on so much grief to a lot of young people who are fresh from the heavens, who are fully aware of what's going on, is really the adults around, because grief is a normal experience, of course. But if adults would also look at death in a different way, like everyone leaves this planet that way. Everyone dies their body and leaves. And the souls on the other side don't care about chronological age. They don't care about time. So they're not thinking, oh, well, this soul can't leave till it's 90. It's really up to the soul about when it wants to leave and how it wants to leave, which I find very fascinating, by the way. So, and your dad says you have the full capacity to communicate with them, but you have to get out of this depression. This is a family pattern where you stay in low vibrational energy and allow yourself to be wounded by something that happened even decades ago. You've done a lot of inner work. You've done the grieving. Now, could you stop and actually enjoy your life and enjoy the world the way it is? That's my question to you. But your father said specifically you could easily connect with him and he would love that. Absolutely love that. A lot of people on the other side, what they would love for us to do is to, first thing in the morning, have a cup of tea, have a cup of tea and hang out with them, talk to them as if they're in the bathroom with us or in the kitchen or wherever you happen to be in the morning with your cup of tea, that they would love that if we would just initiate that. So that you start to feel good about the connection too. But your dad says you're fully capable of having this experience. Stop grieving. You've done enough, in my opinion. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Hi, Marie. This is Chloe. I love listening to your podcast. It brings me so much joy. So I was super excited to leave this voice recording. I sold my house last year in LA after I received all these signs from the universe that it was time for me to move on to something new. And it was really scary. And I'm really proud of myself for doing it. And I do feel like it was the right decision. Everything just kind of aligned perfectly. And in my mind, I thought that I would continue in this flow state now that I had made this big leap and just kind of be led into my next adventure. And that hasn't really been the case. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a limbo state, and the signs that I was receiving are not really appearing anymore. And traveling around to find my next spot is turning into something that's frustrating and stressful instead of fun. And I know that I have to raise my vibration if I want to find the place that's in my highest good for whatever is next for me. So I would just love your insight on that and any tips to get into that state when I'm feeling a little ungrounded physically. But also, if you have any advice on discerning between what's comfortable and safe versus authentic desires, because I feel like I get those confused a lot. And I find myself having a lot of resistance to things that feel a little too new and scary for my nervous system. Anyways, I hope you're well, and thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. I actually know who you are. Some people I've known, over the years, so I can recognize their voice when they leave a message. It's just not the right time yet. You sold the house at the perfect time. I agree with you. That was excellent. So you have to kind of get comfortable with waiting. And that's a practice in terms of raising your vibration, like not wanting to hurry things or to think that you're making a mistake or you're holding yourself back or you're not reacting at the right time. Can you just be comfortable with the way things are? Maybe you don't have to travel around anymore. Maybe you can just find some place to hold up and hang out for a little while and wait until you are naturally, divinely affected again like you were to sell the house. And once you raise your energy by being okay with things not changing as quickly as you thought they were, then the signs are going to come in faster. You could even hear it's going to be a little bit longer because whatever the universe wants for you, maybe it's not ready yet. Maybe that house isn't empty yet. Maybe that house hasn't been built or something of that nature, if we're talking about a home. So all of us have to get comfortable in the waiting and enjoying the waiting, not like, okay, it's been 2 months. That's enough. What do I do now? How about just authentically enjoying your life exactly the way it is, not trying to make it something different, but allowing it to be exactly the way it is and be happy and fulfilled with it being exactly the way it is. That's truly the ticket to raising one's vibration, because all of us want to manifest. All of us want to create. And I hope so, because I think once we stop having desires, I don't think that's good for humanity, which is so interesting because people are living so long. And it used to be that people would retire from their jobs and then leave their body within a few years, typically. But that's not happening longer. We're living longer and longer and longer. So we have to be, we have to enjoy the not knowing, the nothingness, the empty space, it's okay that nothing's happening. And later we find out why we had to wait or what was in our best interest. I wanted to move probably 5 years before I actually moved. And I was so annoyed and irritated. I remodeled my home, all the necessary updates because I'd been in the home for over 20 years and had it painted and, remodeled bathrooms, all of those things. And I was just so incredibly annoyed. And then I learned to just enjoy the house that I'd helped, look nicer and enjoy the neighborhood that I'd lived in all those years. And then one day I woke up after I got comfortable, after I got happy with the way things were, it's kind of a letting go, but it doesn't have to be, oh, you have to stay in this house forever. But it's more like, oh, let's just enjoy ourselves. Whatever we've created right now, can we just like it the way it is? And then one day I woke up and it said, oh, go get a house. And the house I ended up buying wasn't even finished being built. So it wouldn't have been ready 5 years before. It didn't exist. The land had not been bought by the builder. So we don't know all the circumstances. And I think if we can, again, just enjoy where we are, enjoy what's happening, then everything works out beautifully. And that's really all of our work, is to love the nothingness and not try to figure it out or fix it or change it or push it along, but just simply enjoy it. Okay, great question.
Hi, Marie. I have so many questions, but one of my main ones is regarding something I heard you say on a podcast recently, and that is that people choose the way that they're going to depart the earth. As someone who's had a family member fall victim to domestic violence and their subsequent death, I'm wondering why somebody would choose such a harsh way of departure. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. I'm so sorry that happened to you and your family, and of course your family member. And I mean, when people have been at the bedside of people dying, even of just natural causes, I've heard family members often say to me, oh my gosh, they suffered. So every form of death has some aspect of suffering. I mean, giving birth is definitely not comfortable unless you have a ton of drugs on board or they knock you out to do a C-section, but it's not, even that may not be totally comfortable. Certainly recovering from it is not comfortable. So all forms of death have an aspect of suffering, if you will. Although I do believe when a soul is leaving their body for real, because sometimes we don't leave our body when, it looks like we're going to die and then we don't. Angels surround us and take away the pain and the anxiety. But remember, souls have had many, many lifetimes. Even young souls have maybe had, 10,000 lifetimes. And the older you are, the more experiences you've had. So that means we've been the persecutor. We've been the murderer. We've been the criminal. And all the other good things too. We've been the judge. We've been the physician. We've done a lot of things. And so if we haven't done some things, but maybe we had been physically violent to someone else in a previous lifetime. And this does not mean that that's what your family member, this is the reason why they chose. I'm just using this as an example. I'm plugging into her right now, so she's going to be sharing something soon. But souls are so curious. So if they have actually harmed someone in a previous lifetime, they're like, oh, what does it feel like to die that way? And because all souls know that when they leave their body, there has to be a death. And so well, I haven't died that way before. Ooh, I haven't died that way in a long time. Right? So, but typically people who choose, because there is a choice that we're making in order to learn or experience something. Many people who have abusive situations really want to learn self-empowerment. That's what they want to learn. And in like your family member's case, this person didn't do a lot of inner work while they were in their body. They just kind of stayed in the same kind of game, the same back and forth. It was just very repetitive, the same situation over and over and over again. Very little changed. It escalated, but very little changed. And so your family member didn't have the time or the energy to do inner work and actually didn't seek it out. Sometimes when souls leave their body, they look at their lifetime they just had, and we're talking about earth lifetimes primarily. And if they haven't done inner work or not enough to change their consciousness, they do the work on the other side. So it's almost like that they have like a movie, because when we look at our life review, it's like a movie too, but it's in a hologram. It's very multidimensional. But they have this movie of the pattern and the thing that they were stuck in that they were hoping that they could have left, but they know that we don't always heal everything in a lifetime. Sometimes we don't do the inner work that we hoped we would do when we were in a body. So they wait till they get to the other side and then they watch the movie and study it and go, oh, and they get a lot of clarity. It's a really cool way to learn. And then if they decide, because everyone has free will, nobody has to come to Earth to evolve. It's not necessary. Plenty of other places in the multi-universes. Doesn't have to be a contractual place like Earth. If they decide to come back to Earth, which many souls obviously do, 8 billion human souls on Earth. It's a busy place. Then they'll instigate those things that they learned on the other side so that they can stop the pattern in the physical form. Many souls believe that if they can change their perception in the physical, that they're going to have a huge awakening of consciousness as they leave their body or venture in other realms that are non-physical. So your family member wanted to let go of self-loathing because it's a common feeling that a lot of humans have, but certainly humans that allow abuse to occur over and over and over again. We're just not talking about the abuser right now. That's a whole nother conversation and what that person wants to learn too, to learn to be kind, to do their own inner work and not use violence to make them feel better, which is very temporary and not effective at all. So those are my thoughts. I hope that they're helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Sarah. I'm calling you from the UK. I'm calling today with a question about manifesting. So I've been trying manifesting and trying the what if questions. I have manifested some smaller things, like a special plant, things for the household, like an iron, dishes, tool set, things that were given to me that I just had a need for. I quit my job, a well-paying job that I suffered through for 5 years, working 60 to 90 hours a week. And I am kind of I've been doing freelance things after my savings ran out, and looking for new avenue of work. And I have had some success. I'm able to, survive and support myself with small freelance jobs.
Great.
I started a master's program in music, which I thought I would never do, but I called into the podcast almost a year ago to your podcast, and you had suggested exploring music, which really resonated and never thought of it before. So I'm currently in that and exploring sounds, mystical sounds, ceremonies, different traditions, and I want to keep going with that. But I feel I want to manifest more wealth. I want to manifest a job that inspires me, that's beautifully compensated. Those are some of my what if questions. And my ultimate goal is to continue with sound and composing healing sound. I'm studying the harp, but I'm very new at it. I never studied music before, but it's a wonderful journey. So I want to continue to be able to support myself with those things. And also, I have a big goal of purchasing some land to open an animal sanctuary with a friend and with my mom. So I was wondering if you could check my energy system, see if there's any leaks or anything else I can do to raise my vibration and manifest some of these bigger dreams that I've been working on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. And I'm really happy that you're not working 70 to 90 hours a week doing something that you don't enjoy. So congratulations. That's huge. When it comes to creating wealth, it's really best to not think about work and money like they're together. It doesn't mean that they won't be or that they can't be, but it's better to think of money as a separate energy than work, because we want all people to be able to attract and have financial freedom in their life no matter what. No matter what job they have, no matter if they're on sabbatical, if they have to take time off to heal their body. So what we're really talking about is changing your relationship with wealth, which means, of course, to stay in a high vibrational perception when you're engaging with anything that has to do with finances. The animal sanctuary, I didn't really feel you're enjoying it. You get to do whatever you want, but it just sounds like a ton of work. I know you want to do it to help the animals, but I want you to do things because it makes you happy. That's been more the most helpful. If we can be happy about something that we're doing, we are incredibly helpful. So your personal joy needs to be met first. But I do think if you could think about sound as you are logging on to your online banking or grabbing your wallet and producing a card or cash, anytime you're going to engage with wealth, please think about sound, because it is really a high vibration for you. What a blessing to know what something is in terms of high frequency and high vibration for you. So try not to think, oh, I need this type of job so I can make this type of money. No, we want to change your relationship with wealth. Of course, you'll get a great job that you enjoy, but they don't have to be tied together. Wealth is really an independent flow of energy that, of course, can positively affect our work world, but we want it to positively affect all of our financial interactions, every single one of them, not just a paycheck. Okay, so that's your homework assignment. I hope it's helpful.
Good day, Marie. This is Anita in Texas. Um, I wanted to ask you if you can do a scan on me to find out what my money block is or what negative belief I have about money, because I'm a kind of person that even if I have enough money in my
Great,
account, I still worry
great.
that it's gonna run out. So, can you please help me overcome this block? Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Anita. Back on money again, but it is an energy. Like everything in the universe is energy. Even some of the things that people don't want me to talk about on this podcast, like politics and war, those are energy. Everything is energy. Conflict can be really cool to look at energetically, just like politics can be really cool to look at energetically. So we want you to change the way you vibrate your subatomic particles before you engage with money. And the first thing is, don't use the word money. It's a low vibrational word for most people. It certainly is for you. You can use resources, wealth, finances, pick a different word, but don't make a word that's a phrase that's kind of complicated. Pick something that is for you slightly mainstream, like resources or finances or wealth. I like the word wealth. And you're not allowed to worry again. So you need to stop the pattern. This pattern, you're intelligent, like all the people on the planet and everyone who listens to this podcast is extremely intelligent. And when I tell people they have to stop thinking a certain way, they look at me like they have no control over their mind. But you literally, everyone has constant and full control over their mind. Even if they don't believe they do, they absolutely 100% do. So you want to use that ability you have to manage your thoughts. You literally stop a thought and start another one. And or become present. Just to become present in the moment could get you off an old pattern. So just like the other caller, the one just before you, but I don't know what yours is. It might be the smell of food, because all of a sudden I'm smelling popcorn and I have not made any popcorn for days. It just smells so incredibly good. So perhaps the scent of food that you really enjoy, that you get into that vibration as you're doing exactly what I said for the last caller, before you put your online baking password in, before you grab a wallet or use anything that has to do with resources, before you write a check, before you go to the mailbox. Think of the smell of food. That's going to raise your vibration. And learn to manage your mind. Everyone on the planet needs to learn to manage their mind, because this is what's going to help the human race uplift their consciousness significantly, versus thinking that we are slaves to our mind, that our mind is so powerful, there's nothing we can do about it. That's not true. It's just a program. It's just a computer. You can change it whenever you want to. I hope that's helpful. Great question.
Hello, Mary. My name is Constance and I'm from Ottawa, Canada. I want to thank you for your podcast and your generosity. My question concerns my relationship with my ex-husband and the father of my 3 children. We had a challenging marriage and separation. I'd like things to be different now. Do you see anything that could help me heal and be a better parent, so that we can work as a team for our children? And let's be honest, so that I can look forward. All this is preventing me from being fulfilled in every aspect of my life, despite my best efforts. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Well, just remember there's always 2 people involved in a marriage, even when it ends. So you're not the only person that's responsible for the communication and the connection and working together. But what I would recommend that you do is to go back in your memory banks in this relationship and pick a moment in time where you were really, really happy. And then whenever your mind wants to bring up all the terrible things that happened, or how mad you are, or how unfair you were to each other, or whatever, you're going to stop your mind and bring up that old memory. I have one that my guides taught me, because I was annoyed and frustrated for a while as well after my relationship with the kid's dad ended. And there's this one picture my guides showed me, and we were all in our minivan, because there was 5 of us. We were laughing our heads off. So that's where I choose to put my energy, to, as often as possible, especially if I'm starting to, it's been many years, so I don't spend a lot of time thinking about that previous relationship. But if I were to, I bring that image to the forefront, and I allow myself to be in a high frequency and high vibration regarding a really wonderful and powerful and beautiful time in the relationship. Also, I don't think people should speak negatively about their spouses in front of their children, or ex-spouses in front of their children, because the kids are half the other person. And if we can keep that, our beliefs about that person, unless it's highly necessary to have that conversation about when younger kids are getting older and they need a bigger truth about what things happened, or they start asking questions, which I think is only normal and healthy. But to really not put down that parent in that way that we tend to when we're annoyed and frustrated or disappointed with someone, I think is crucial, so that our children love every part of themselves, even the part that they recognize that looks like the other parent. I want them to love everything about themselves. So that's what I would recommend for you, is to find a memory that you can enjoy. Because every time I think about the minivan and all 5 of us in this car driving around, I'm so happy. I'm incredibly happy and fulfilled, and all the other weird thoughts completely vanish. I hope that's helpful. And thank you everyone for listening to the podcast today. I will be back with another podcast on Thursday. Today is August 18th, 2024, and I'm recording from the Pacific Northwest. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.